back at that game, did it feel weird just that there weren't that many snaps and there weren't that many passes? Like it just felt like a different game was for you calling it. How did it feel?
Well, I mean, there weren't that many plays because, like, we missed a couple series because of special team scores, but also we were 3 and out, 1 and out. And when you have the combination and then there's two non-scores in there, basically you didn't get drives there. That's sort of the way that goes. But yeah, I mean, it was a little bit different. We made three mistakes in that game. We get a holding penalty on third and extra long, when they're just trying to keep the clock running. And then we jump off sides, cardinal sin in 4 minute, really embarrassing play for us. And the other one where, we're aggressive to try to keep them out of field goal range. It's a tight game where we were behind the 8 ball early in the game, and we're trying to keep them out of field goal range. So you're aggressive and you're blitzing, and they get one block, and all of a sudden they can score a touchdown. So even though when you look at a lot of the stats and things like that, looks good. It wasn't enough for a win, and if we either make a play here or don't commit a penalty or just make a mistake, then maybe we give us a better chance to win that game. But there were a lot of things that we're proud of with the game, but we're never proud of a loss.
How that was such an embarrassing play, the neutral zone infraction. And I know you guys obviously work on all those details, coach it up. How can something like that is just a total mental error? How does something like that
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to describe. I mean, I've made mistakes in games where you you do something, make a bad call or something like that. It's not as evident as that. I mean, I think that's, if you look across that game, I'm sure dozens of people on both sides made mistakes and plays that they're not proud of. The thing is, when you make it in that situation, it's magnified, and that's the spotlight that players live under. That's the spotlight that coaches live under. I think you have to learn from it. You have to flush it, and you have to be able to move on. The thing that sort of, I'm disappointed with Cam is that he played a really good game other than that. But that one, that one play defines his game as opposed to his pressures, his run defense. He got a sack, did a lot of good things in the game. But that's just the way this game goes, and that's the spotlight we all live under, and we have to do better.
Around training camp or OTAs, you had talked about Ronnie Hickman's development, and you said like he's kind of like keep putting out the fires, but now you need him to make plays. With him having an interception against the Jets this season, just where have you seen the growth where he's been able to make these impactful plays now?
Yeah, Ronnie's been such a consistent player for us this year in the back end. Great communicator. The week before against the Patriots, he had a couple missed tackles, which was really, really out of character for him. He's been a really sure tackler for us in a lot of our cleanup tackling. I would say on that play, Ronnie gets the interception, but Grant Delpit had a lot to do with that play. Grant's playing the backside, does the play that the Jets ran was a play that had gotten us early in the year. And we had worked it in our self-scout on the bye week, knowing that people would try to copycat and say, hey, we can get this. And Grant just did outstanding job on the backside of that and pushed the first route off, which allowed Ronnie to fall into the second window and make that play. So Ronnie gets all the attention right there. But, Grant's the one that helped make that. And that's just football. I mean, there's a lot of those. Like Miles had a great sack on. You get a sack when their quarterback's dashing the other way. But Alex Wright did a good job pulling the quarterback up. Grant did a good job pulling it. Here comes Carson to pull the quarterback, and that allowed Grant. So, nobody really stands on their own in the NFL, on a football field. There's 11 guys, and everybody has to do their job for somebody else to make a play. I think what you saw there. But I think Ronnie's really stepped into a leadership role for us. He's been an extremely consistent player. There's not a lot of ups and downs in his play, and he's obviously got some ball hawk in him. So it's a good sign going forward for us and for him.
do you think about the job Carson did to come back and work through that high ankle sprain and play and just, the season he's having in general and acclimating to the defense?
Yeah. That's tough injury to come back from, but, he turned every stone. Is that the word? Turned over every stone? Phrase. He turned every stone over in his rehab. And, he basically lived at the facility for the bye week. And, that was one of the things that helped him. I think he's got a little bit of, Wolverine blood in him too, to be able to bounce back. And obviously you got to be able to play with some pain and do those kind of things. He had about as good a teach tape rep on a zone read that you can imagine. I mean, Justin Fields is a 4-3 type athlete and hard to bring down. Carson, made it look easy, but made it look easier than a lot of other people make it. I mean, we could talk a long time. I mean, I think that trumpet has been sounded a long time, the quality of play that he's given us. And I think it's not just the quality of play, but the communication. And every week he gains more confidence and he gains a higher respect from his teammates and becomes more of a leader for us. And when you do something like that, when you have an injury that has a chance to keep you out for a few weeks and you go out and lay it on the line for your teammates, that means something in the locker room, and those guys know it. And that helps you in leadership roles. And, that's one of the things we need from him.
Convenient to have the tune-up game against Justin Fields just before this game?
Yeah, I mean, we see a lot of mobile quarterbacks, and that's just part of the NFL now. It's most guys have the ability to scramble and make plays. Some teams use them a little bit more than others, but we've already played Baltimore once this year. But even going back to the week before, Drake May. He doesn't get the reputation for that, but he made us pay a couple times on some scrambles. And, all these guys have ability to go get first downs, go get big plays with their legs. That's just where football has evolved. And it, like we talked before, it just spreads you just a little bit thinner on defense because you have to account for the quarterback, whether it's a quarterback scramble or it's a zone read or a design quarterback run. It's just a whisker away from playing triple option football.
Ricard and Likely back kind of changed the complexion of their offense in terms of some of the personnel you're expecting to see again.
Yeah, they kept their package. Zaire actually played the fullback, a guy we were very familiar with in the first game, so they kept it. But getting Ricard back is big for them in their two back set stuff. He's a 300-pound guy that can, play with power, and that means a lot to a guy like Derrick Henry, getting him started. We've done a good job of getting Derrick a lot of times before he can get started, while having a fullback like that, can help him. So he was an important part of the offense that they didn't have the first time, and likely, all three of their tight ends are good players. Kohler really stepped into a role, and he's a trusted player for them. He's made a lot of plays for the Ravens. So they have three of them, all of them a little bit different, but they use all three of them, and that'll be a big part of things.
You were able to hold him to under 50 rushing yards on your last meeting, Lamar to just 13. How much different is it going to be a challenge for you guys with them already having seen what you guys were able to do in the run-stopping ability of your defense?
Scheme-wise, there's really not a whole lot. It's more just attitude. I mean, I think they had a pretty good idea what we were going to do in the first game. I mean, when you play division games like this, particularly coaching staffs that have, that have been around for a few years, and players that have been around for a few years, there's not a whole lot of secrets this time of year. I mean, there's very little in this game that we're going to do that the Ravens are going to be like, oh wow, like where did that come from? Because if it was, we would have been doing it last game, the game before that. Like you already sort of know, they know us, we know them, and it's classic division games, and it comes down to, to who plays physical, who does the techniques well, who plays with the best fundamentals, who plays with the best spirit, who makes the fewest mistakes. It comes down to those things as opposed to, you know, a coach coming up with a magic scheme or, you know, something like that. That's what division football is all about. It's, you know, the weather's changed. You're into November. You have two physical teams. You know, that's what the AFC North's about.
A bit of an edge to him today. Maybe it was because he had to wear that Alabama shirt, losing that bet. But he said something like, with everything else going on this team, it's time for our pride to show up on defense.
He's a prideful player. He played that way. You know, that first third down of the game, we're in a blitz, and they got a pretty good play dialed up against it, that swing screen. And I don't know if you guys noticed, because Tyson did a really good job of visual on that and knifed through and made the tackle. But Grant was the blitzer on the boundary side, and he chased that play all the way over to our sideline. It was just unbelievable effort, play, and then physicality when he hit him at the end. So Grant backs up statements like that with his play on the field.
Alex, I would think that Isaiah would get more playing time. What have you seen from him this season?
Yeah, Isaiah had an outstanding training camp for us, and really won the starting spot. And then he had a little bit of little setback early in the season, and just wasn't as productive as he wanted to be and as we wanted him to be. And at the same time, Alex was really being productive, and Alex sort of outsnapped him. We really don't have, I mean, other than Miles, we really don't have, quote, starters. But he outsnapped him in there, and you know, this is a great opportunity for Zay to get that back, and you know, and to be the consistent playmaker that we know he can be.